Yes, very good evening to another present here. Myself, Monica, second PhD agronomy. So today I am going to throw a light on ocean acidification. Before entering into my topic, I would like to tell what is pH. So you all may know pH is a negative logarithm of hydrogen ion. Usually we use it to say like it is a power of hydrogen or a potential of hydrogen ion like that. So pH is a scale. It is a scale used to specify the acidity or basicity of an aqueous solution. Technically, it terms how many hydrogen ion which is present inside the solution. So you may know that acidic solutions are measured to have lower pH values, or basic solutions are measured to have higher pH values. So also you know, you may study from our school days onwards that pure water has a pH of pure water is 7. So let me know any cases that what is the pH of ocean water. So though it contains more amount of salt, you may taste the ocean water, it is more salty, no. So what will be the pH of that ocean water? Any cases? Anybody can? What is it? Sorry, I can't hear. 4, 7, 5 to 6. Okay. Your guesses are what? 7. Okay. I said pH of pure water is 7. You know the ocean water contains more salt. I guess it is 8.1. So here please don't get confused with pH and EC, because pH is a measure of hydrogen ion, but EC is a measure of soluble salt. Soluble salt is more means then it shouldn't indicate that like it should have more pH like that. pH is different, EC is different. So pH of ocean water is 8.1 now. So those days it is 8.2. Before a century, before 100 years it was 8.2. Now it is 8.1. If this condition exists continue means then in future it will get decrease to 7.8, 7.5, 7 and so on, like that it will get decreased. So now I tell what is ocean acidification. This is ocean acidification is an ongoing decreasing of ocean pH which undergoes several chemical reactions inside the ocean, which leads to increasing the ocean acidity. So it is the ocean acidification. And the next term is CO2. What will be the reason for this ocean acidification? The foremost reason is CO2. Our human activity, we itself emitting lots of CO2 to the atmosphere that we do not even think about it, because we are emitting lot of CO2 to the atmosphere. Where it will go? Atmosphere contains certain amount of gaseous compounds, like it contains 28% of nitrogen, 21% of oxygen. You may know that also, and 0.03% of CO2. This 0.03% has been increased to 0.04% because of our human activity. Atmosphere has increased the concentration of CO2. So this CO2, where it will go? About 30% of CO2 is absorbed by ocean only. That CO2 will get react with the H2O molecule inside the water, then it will create H2CO3, that is carbonic acid. So increasing of carbonic acid inside the ocean will tend to increasing of ocean acidity. Okay, from the starting I said increasing of pH, decreasing of pH, acidity decrease like this only. So what will happen if it happens? Our ocean environment will get affected. All the ocean ecosystem will get affected. Fish inside the ocean, organisms inside the ocean, all will get affected. The coral reefs, so many lot of tons of coral reefs are present inside the ocean. All will get destroyed. All will get demolished. Because of this, all over world will get demolished. Because I said the CO2, ocean acts as a trap for a CO2. So because of this, ocean heat will get increased. If the ocean water heat will get increased means then all our glaciers, rising of sea level, glaciers melt, all will happen. So again the ocean, what will happen if this happen means then our coastal region, we will lose our coastal regions, then tends to ocean acidification. Then So I said because of the CO2 only happens. So what will be the mitigation strategy? How to reduce CO2 emission to the atmosphere? We have to adapt several strategies like carbon capture, mitigation, storage activities, and we can use biofuels instead of petrols, diesels like that. And we can reduce the combustion, and we can reduce the individual vehicles. We can increase the public transport. So because of these activities, we can reduce CO2 emission. And one major component is deforestation. We have to avoid that. We can increase the afforestation. So because of this, with these strategies, we can reduce the CO2 emission to the atmosphere. So with this, I conclude this ocean acidification. It is I can say it is an evil twin of climate change. So thank you.
Very excellent. You have some hand color. She introduced and she had a lot of content also, and she was making people very engaged. She was questioning with a lot of questioning, interrogative pronouns also. Interrogative pronoun, I told you, which of these are reasons, what are reasons, why else we are here, so whom you have to refer for, and what is the causative factor. Like that, she used a lot of interrogative pronouns also. Facts and figures, and so on. No, it's audible. Audible. So she introduced properly, and she was using a lot of interrogative pronouns too. She made us engaging. She questioned. She brought facts and figures without any effort. Because effortlessly she used facts and figures. Not she wanted to use it deliberately, and she concluded properly. She has made some sort of repetition of word that we find today. It's a very good presentation.
Myself, Narmata, I'm PhD scholar from Department of Agronomy. I'm here today before you to discuss about some topic, big data. Before entering into the topic, let me ask you one thing. How many of you here know or have some idea about big data? What it means? Yeah. Yeah, okay, that's correct. Let me give you some more points. Here, when coming to this, this is nothing but volume amount of data from the various sources. From our day-to-day life, we are the reasons who we are generating a big amount of data. From morning good morning messages to bedtime good night messages. Through WhatsApp, through emails, through Instagram, daily what we are creating, we are sending messages. Your every Facebook likes and comments, it is created as an data. That is considered as an big data. In the past, we had used only landline phones, and then for desktops and for storing some data, we have used some hard disks. Then time evolved, and then technologies developed. We had switched over to our smartphones, and then we started to store our data in the cloud storage as well. There it comes enormous and volume of data. Then after that, for that I got with one simple example. If we consider a single user, if he or she is generating 40 exabytes of data, exabytes is nothing but 1 million terabyte. In a month, he is generating 40 exabytes of data. Let us consider 5 billion users. Then just think it of how much data we are generating in a month. That's a volume amount of data. In this big data, we have some 5 specific characters like volume, parity, value, veracity, and velocity. that is volume amount of data which is coming from the variety of sources with the velocity of time. That is, within a second we are generating a volume of data. That is a big data. What we can do with this big data? We are telling that the data is generating and we are collecting. With the data, what we will do and what is the end result, sir? If anyone knows, can you? Okay. By analyzing those data, we can get some results. It can give some patterns or results which is hidden inside data. So from there we can generate that results so that the solution can be found out for some problems. Either it will be a new problem or an existing one. Let us consider in our agriculture area, from sowing to the harvest, for forecasting weather, for pest and disease identification, for everything we started to forecast the results. For that we need data, whether it is an past data, so that from that what happened there and what will going to happen in future and what we have to do for that. So everything we can have answer with that analysis of data. Then and also in our present day the technology has also evolved and we started to use everything in an automatic way. Whatever the thing we are using, it is daily it is generating some data. So it will give some results what we want to do the next step. Big data, it is started to boom. Actually, it is already started here. And I end up with this. Data can be without information, but no information will be without data. Thank you.
Today is very competitive, very architectural. You've done a very excellent introduction, questioning twice, interrogative. Of course, she was using multiple adjectives 2 times. I told you multiple because what is this workshops? Because I learned a lot from this type of training. We also evolve a template also, which we are not exposed to earlier. Through your presentation, I was able to give a better template. The introduction can be very short. Interrogative pronouns they use a lot of markers. They use multiple objectives and all that. From this also certain areas which we can explore. This is the presentation workshop helps you to nurture excellence, and also it will give an impact on the audience, effectiveness to the audience, and also from that we will be able to give a better outcome. So this workshop was started the teaching, then training, then your presentation. That was the outcome, and impact also it was good. But from the impact again we want to have the reformatting for the fine tuning for the presentation. So that's what I feel is very useful for me also. Because learning is continuous process. I will not have an ego that I should be learning whatever you. This is a workshop which will have a larger than life image and is onto a wider platform. This platform brings excellence in both the teachers and the students. So in fact you are given another facts syllabus and statistics also, which I forgot to tell. She had given statistics too, and multiple adjectives she told no, and 1, 2, 3 something like that. Something. And modal verbs also she used. Modal verbs are can, could, will, would, shall, should, ought to be, need to be, and all that, which can be also used. Can it be possible, she was telling, like that, a few words which can be also included in the markers. So these are the areas which we are cooperating. And Monica also, she told another one, that is a Monica, I forgot to mention here. She used some, and body language also I forgot to mention both of you. And of course Monica's body language and yours also good and all that. Only thing you are a little bit serious in your presentation. But anyhow, because sometimes when you are going for extempore, you cannot be free. You tighter than face. So PowerPoint and the labs, PowerPoint casually, it made the teachers very casual. Teachers are not serious. So naturally this workshop is essential because teachers are, I am not blaming me, but I can also be blamed. Teachers are not serious about the outcome of the students. Nowadays the trend is changing. I am not blaming DNA teachers. If they had really worked hard to have extempore, you would have also doing it better. There is no need for workshop kind and all. As we are going towards technology-based education, blended education, hybrid mode and all that, online mode, which is spoiled like anything. Now this is the opportunity even by all the 5 members. Who are all the 5 members here? the committee constitutes so Dhanani, Prashant, Omkar, Ratnabin and Rishikesh Patil. We have to share the presence on this is a wonderful opportunity for us to evolve more and more ideas to scientific representation, and also we can suggest a very good template in future. Thank you.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Very warm good afternoon to each and everyone present here. So, myself, Sneha Katapudi, second PhD of Vegetable Science. Today, sir, I am taking this opportunity to share a small talk on farm loss. LOSS, it's not loss, but LAWS. So, most of you, I think so, you are all aware of the farmers' protest, which has been a very popular news in the last few years. So it just started in the year 2020 and it came to an end in November 2021. So I just want to give a brief description and my perspective on that particular topic. So does anyone have any idea regarding how many farmers have been involved in the protest? Nearly 3 lakh farmers have involved in the protest, and to my surprise, I don't know whether every one of you might know or not, most of the farmers, near 60 to 70% of farmers were in their age of 60s and 70s, and they have protested near the borders of New Delhi for nearly 100 days without food and water, protesting for their loss. So to give a brief outline of what exactly is law, before a law is passed, particular rules are submitted to the government in the form of a bill, and the bill becomes an act, and this act, after it is gone through a hierarchy of regulations, it will be published as a law. So such laws, of 3 of the laws were published in the year June 2021 through the government, and most of the farmers affected were of Punjab and Haryana. So what exactly is this law is that the normal agricultural food chain comes from the produce or the commodity which comes from the farmers to the consumers. Before it received by the consumers, it will go through a series of middlemanship where exactly lot of black marketing occurs. Exactly to say, the outline is from the farmer, it goes to the APMC, which is called as mandi in our native languages, and then it goes to the middleman, and then it comes exactly to the consumers, that is we ourselves. So there is a lot of black marketing in this middle process. What exactly the 3 laws depicts is that there is no middlemanship, and the government will, before the laws have been published, they said the farmers couldn't sell their commodities outside the states. So only the intra-state commodity is going on. So with this laws published, they said that farmers are able to sell their commodities out of the state. So extra state, interstate commodities is possible. So this is the process. So to say exactly, according to this law and according to the things published in the paper, everything looks good, everything looks very good, but exactly what to say, things are different in coming in reality. Things are very bad. Before, the black marketing was not legal, but now with this laws, black marketing will be legalized. The farmers will be suppressed by the wholesalers, and the so-called government people will suppress the commodity levels. So they will put a price so that the farmers cannot bargain their things. And before the laws have been published, the government has a rule that each and every commodity has a minimum support price. To say exactly, the minimum support price is a price where a single commodity, when it couldn't be sold or when there is a natural calamities, the government will buy the produce with some minimum support price to the farmers, and then they will sell the produce. The government will take the commodities from the farmers. For example, easily the ration shops. So whenever there is a natural calamity, the government involves and takes the produce from the farmers, and then they will support the farmers directly or indirectly.
I won't say it will benefit directly, but I can say that the farmers won't be at some loss. So finally, I want to conclude that, in my perspective, no policy which is established by the government has a positive or a negative effect directly, but as long as there are some restrictions, so government as well as people can understand, so that the welfare and economics will be at a balance, so they can go hand in hand. This I can conclude that after all this process, after after Modi has been taken back the 3 laws also, after 100 days of the return back of the protest, the farmers have 70% of the farmers who all protested for cancelling the laws have submitted some letter mentioning that we want the laws to be published again. So this is what I want to conclude overall, is that policies or the government or the farmers, there is no such positives and negatives, but as long as there are regulations and understanding and little bit of knowledge, everything goes hand in hand, everything will be possible. Thank you.
Hear me? Hear me? Do you hear me?
Yes.
Sneka, Leela, Karni, your wonderful presentation, ma'am. You give an introduction and your pronunciation is very good. You have content is very elaborate. You use statistics, facts, figures, and you have discourse markers ரொம்ப கம்மியாக யூஸ் பண்ணுறீங்க. Because you use only according to whether you use signpost you use, and for example you use that. Because your future you incorporate a lot of discourse markers which will help you to have a pass also. Pass PAUS, PAS இல்லை. Pass will have a gap. Because the point நிறையா இருக்கும், but when the discourse markers இருந்ததுன்னா you would have better when you have got a good body language also. You get on smiling, no one eclipse at all as far as yourself is concerned. And you covered a lot of ideas in content in a short span of time. Thank you. It's not commodity, you're from Andhra.
Yes, that's
Commodity.
Is there anyone to present?
Good evening, one and all present here. I am very happy to introduce myself in front of chief guest and budding researchers. I am Ponnija Kumar, pursuing first year PhD in soil and water conservation engineering. We all know that natural resources such as air, land and water are most important for all living beings and non-living beings. So among these natural resources, water is the most vital resources for humans and animals also. So the water resources are available in the surface and groundwater phase. So among the surface water, lake water is most important contributor to fulfill the demand of water. So hence I take this topic, lake water. So lake water is the most important one to fulfill the need of the water demand in various purposes. Lake water can be polluted through many reasons. Generally, pollution can be defined as the changing the original parameters or characteristics of the water. First we can come to the point of what are the causes for the pollution. There may be a point source pollution and a non-point source pollution. we can identify what is the point source, such as industrial wastewater dropped into the lake ecosystem. Then we, for example, then for non-point source pollution, we can't, for example, agricultural drainage. Generally, lake water pollution, scientifically it is named as eutrophication. The lake has 3 stages. First one is oligotrophic lake, then mesotrophic lake, and then finally eutrophic lake. The polluted lake, scientifically called as eutrophication, that process called eutrophication. Based on the nutrient load enriched in the lake, the 3 phases were called like that. In scientifically, the eutrophication lake formed more than 100 years the time taken for eutrophication process. Through the man-made process, the oligotrophic lake is converted into the eutrophic lake in a short duration. So then when coming to the consequences of the lake pollution, I can hear one voice. Oh my God, I can't be able to breathe. This is the voice of the fish live in the lake ecosystem. So there is a dissolved oxygen level is reduced due to the lake water pollution. Then all the living organisms are not able to live in the lake ecosystem. So we need to conserve the lake ecosystem through the advanced technologies like reverse osmosis and other things. First, before that, we have to reduce the pollution load from the source itself. It is called a source reduction. So, as a corollary, we need to conserve the water resources, especially the lake ecosystem, to satisfy the demand and supply gap. Statistics says that about 180 gallons of water per week is required for the average family. So we have only 2.7% of fresh water available. So then we have the major focus we have to give to conserve the water. Thank you so much for the opportunity given. Thank you all.
You hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes.
One way or the way, she used all the instructions given by me, according to corollary law, but you got a lot of fear to present it. Mainly, I did it coaching. Why? Because you are very clear, your voice is good, and you use all the markers, and you go hence, use putting a data, figure, and all those things, for example, and all the what you say, discourse markers, market erosion. But the buy and the because you have to make it very bold and all. That is the only drawback. But it's very,
Yes.
very clear, and you got a very good pass. Because the only thing because a freight not there, and it was not because we are very fear that you may stop sometime. That shouldn't you should not give suspicion or doubt to the audience. Audience must be able to because believe you, credible. It's not all your sides must be audience oriented. So maybe exemplary makes you freight. Otherwise you will be very easy. Very good pronunciation.
Thank you, sir.
Good evening, everyone. I am Nikita Khanna. I am from the Department of Agricultural Economics doing first PhD. So here, the recent news is the past 2 weeks we have been hearing or reading the headlines in the newspaper like coconut farmers, especially from Tamil Nadu and from the southern states of India are agitating against, for your kind information, it is against a fall in coconut price. So this coconut price, the reason given from the government side and from the reformers is due to the shortage of, not shortage, due to decreased export from India, the prices has fallen. So why? Because it is, when there is a decreased export, usually the supply from a country or a nation will be larger than its demand. So generally when there is an increased supply, so there will be a decrease or fall in prices of any commodity that is produced within a country. So this is the reason given, but let's get into deeper. There can be two main reasons according to my perspective, that is, when there is a decrease in price, it is due to increased supply. That is the main thing. And from the government side, what I see is, from the beginning, there is an subsidized irrigation facility. That is, the government has introduced free electricity, so that there is an increased supply. There is an increased area under coconut cultivation or plantation. So this is the main reason for increased supply and for the expanded area under coconut cultivation. So the other reason is, when there is a decrease or fall in price, the government only should procure for the further buffer stocking or to bring up the farmers' income level up. So this both, that is, the government only can procure the product, or it should reduce the subsidized facilities to the government. So both are the contradictory for the government to bring up the farmers' income level. So what I say is, whenever there is a policy reform or policy that should be introduced by the government to increase the welfare of any farmers in a nation, it should be for long term and that should not be for the short term. Why? Because when there is an increased electricity subsidies, so there happened an increased expanding of coconut cultivation area. So that is what this, they thought it will be useful for the farmers to bring up the farmers' welfare during that period. But now that is meant for only short term. So any policy reform that should be done, it should be for the long term, and that is what I would like to conclude from the recent coconut farmers agitation. Thank you.
Your presentation, very clear ideas, and your content is very short and sweet. You have to, because you use the key markers also. But you have a non-verbal communication is very easy. You are very good. You see the audience now. The mechanical and everything, but it was good actually. Cheerfully, but it's good.
Thank you.
Completed, sir. Participants completed. Is there anyone willing to present? That's all.
Priya, excuse me. Blue chudiyar putting. She only asked me, blue chudiyar Yes. You asked me to improve vocabulary. This sort of note I got 20. So I took all those things. Vocabulary catchphrase, travel participant is one of them. Because whatever thing comes in the newspaper, you write it down. So now we are recalling all those things, and now we refresh. But we not forget. have a lot of it, and then all the things that right. So alumni meet and ODL and whatever. We keep on doing it, and this is what is. Then I have TOEFL chair at the actually we are 3,000 crores unit. The national public we call it. Another important thing.
Please sit front, occupy the front seats. Nobody is there.
Good evening to everyone. And your friend Jagdish also. Jagdish, I miss you a lot. You want to be some what native Adira. So these people are my old friends from global conference. This normally we have this workshop is very much enlightening as far as myself is concerned. Everyone presented very nicely, but of course you have to use the markers, discourse markers, everything to have to make it very professional. So discourse markers and markers are used only to have a pass and all. So vocabulary building is higher order of learning, for which you need a lot of homework to remember. That's what I tell you. R squared, yes. Reading, recollecting, regurgitating and synthesizing. Without this, it will not be developed. Read, but continuous reading is important. Recollecting, because you will be asked an hectic, no? Even your hectic schedule, you have to read a lot. Even because a lot of works may be there, but you have to make it a point that you have to read. The calamity comes, good and bad things might happen, good things might happen. Even for information, my father died. I was the death ceremonial day and all that in my native. But even then, I was preparing a project sent for proposal. I got 1.75 crores. Because people criticized me, but that was the last day I was sent to the government. But for I was emotional and I was feeling so sad. Today also I feel sad because but the thing is that things must be going on. Men make a river will be flowing. There is a concept, but even the extreme conditions also you have to evolve like a phoenix. So that was a great opportunity for me. And people, my relatives criticized, saying, "What is this?" And the father's funeral is reading and all that. But that was the last day. I put it in the proper format, and later I just sent it the next day of the third day rituals. So that was a project which I got in cloud computing because I considered laboratory. That laboratory made me to fetch marks, so I became a director. But for the laboratory, I constructed. I would got the university officer, like dean and all, the director. So that is one of the hallmark achievements of mine. It was considered for 3 crore with all the paraphernalia. So the information also, because the vocabulary building is it should happen every time. So life will not be rosy. It will be also thorny also, but you have to go. Sites for presentations, I just very critically, I just browse some internet, but then I have not used it all. It's my own idea. 1 or 2 points I will gather, but I will fine tune. There won't be any plagiarism in my presentation at all. I'm very serious about I'm not egoistic, I'm very predominant and dominating that I should use only that my own idea. The ego aggressiveness, the aggressiveness should be also there. Because my role model is Jayalalitha. So Dr. J. Jayalalitha, late Chief Minister, was Indira Gandhi role model. Because the bolder men, all the men Prime Ministers from Rome, excepting our present Prime Minister. Present Prime Minister adjust pannikkararu because sometimes he is compromising. But Jayalalitha and Indira Gandhi will not compromise. Thunderbolts avangala வந்து Indira Gandhi வந்து Blue Thunder னு ஒன்னு ஆரம்பிச்சாங்க. Operation Blue Thunder. That's what he shot all the Bindanawali group and all that. That was and she made 20-point program. She made MISA and all that. MISA because no one, women are very safe in Indira Gandhi. When you three men talking loud, lot of blowing will be given by policemen. Police was given power. Similarly, Jayalalitha's period, women are secured or women are not secured. It's very unfortunate. Crime rate is exorbitant nowadays because it's not a thing. But our chief minister, prime minister, very good people, but stricter very good prime minister, chief minister. Stricter because it was they are extreme people. Sometimes we admire the extreme people also. Boldness, it's synonymous with Indira Gandhi. So slides for presentation, one is why we are using slides is easy to update. Other than there is the beauty of slides, because we can update. Sometimes we fail to. I put all the grammar, my school grammar, and nowadays what I learned, put in the form of slide. We will not forget it. Updating in renewal is very much important, which was one of the success quotient of mine. As she was asking, vocabulary building will not come in one morning. So we have to update renewal. Number effective way of doing this presentation is preparing a slide. Third is quick to produce. Within a short time you can prepare for a class. But for preparation and when you are extemporary, it needs a lot of stress. That slide is very easy because we have got a PowerPoint. Our work is very less, but your production time is very less. That's one of the pluses. And also you have impact with visuals. Nowadays students are not interested in text. They are interested in visuals because they don't strain much and all that. Those days when a theorem is taught, when the vernier calipers is taught, when the science is taught, blinking and all that. But visuals means they will be able to understand. It's a technology or a beauty. Now the understanding sensation is very easy. Earlier they were not able to see the moth and all the moth, Xyloptera delicata, a lot of entomological specimens are seen only physically. But everything can be seen in the slides and all that. Dissection, morphological characters and all that. Physiological characters can be shown very easily. This is what slide is taking a big way in our presentation and make us successful. Number two, I use only 6 slides, only very small words, all capitals and all that. This is how the slide should be. Less words and more talking. Only words I was using. I used 1 or 2 phrases around next. Avoid paragraphs, avoid quotations, avoid complex sentences, limit 5 lines, use words. Be easier to remembrance because that's what I put a diagram which will be relevant. It's a complicated thing. I put in paragraphs. You should not use paragraph at all. Normally we use paragraph. Even professors and all use paragraph in the readout. Don't read the PowerPoint. Don't try to read, and that is not a presentation at all. PowerPoint is to memory is very much bleak and all that. Use PowerPoint at least to stretch the ideas, but that is not the everything. A slide needs preparation for half an hour. You have to pull everything in these 5 lines and all that. Then you have to talk to people. Avoid quotations. Quotations may be very much artificial. Quotations, cheat notes and all, but of course you have to use catchphrases and you can use slogans also. Wherever you go, I'll be there. It's a slogan. Live and let die is a slogan. Catchphrases are, of course, we have got a lot of catchphrases now. Because unity in diversity, and you've got trust to prosper in the mixed farming. Like that, you can use catchphrases, but quotations are really artificial. Connecting to the actual life is not so conducive in a scientific presentation. Avoid complex sentences. That's what some of your presenters were very much complex sentences. That's what I insist you to have a phrasal verbs. There are 373 phrasal verbs. I'll Xerox and give it to you or to Prashant. You can circulate to people and all that. Traveling, night traveling, normally you go night travel, bus normally people from Meghalaya or long journey, flight journey, railway station, bus stand, because the lunch time, night walk after paragliding for a time and all that. You can recollect your vocabulary and that will also. And you have a very good close contact friend, one friend, and you interact with them. And every day you have to use it, the vocabulary, the friend. Your companion must be there to use it. Otherwise it's of no use. Then use words alone, not lengthy sentences, not even classes. Class na when the children play. Children play. That is one of the phrases, that we can call this a words also. The children play in the field. So the children play while the mother is cooking. That's a class. While the mother is cooking, the children play. That's a very complex sentence. Children play. That is the PowerPoint. But children know why children play, how children play, what are the this thing we have to explain through your preparation. Presentation should have only words. Preparation can be very heavy. That's what I told you. Plan, prepare, practice, and present. P to the power of 4. Next one. Slogans I already told you, catchphrases also. Only key points for clarity and retention. Clarity, very clear and retention column, we use a lot of statistics, facts and figures and all that. Number 3 is the photographs to convey the meaning of that. That's what I use, that animation photographs. Animation, I shown you the animation photograph. But the time because I'm rushing with a lot of work now. Then video is used for skill imparting. When you want to show the people the skill like preparation of vermicomposting, preparation of what you call as fertilizers, biofertilizers, inoculants and all that, azosphere preparation, trichoderma preparation and all that, you can use the video to impart the skill on the technical doers and knows to the farmers or any people for that matter. Lot of method demonstration பார்த்துருக்கீங்களா மைசூர் பாப் ஹைவே படி வெங்கடேஷ் பட்டெல்லாம் all are only videos and imparting the skill, all the skill oriented videos only made for cookery skills and cooking and whatever things, cinema, we got a lot of skill oriented practice or charming nowadays. And also use animation to show the process, For example, when you want to have an industry is established, the industry will have a chain of events and all that, processing, packaging, and also selling, branding, advertisement. There's a lot of process will be very complicated. So through the animation, show the industry, the strategic places where these units are located and all that. From that, people will be able to have an arrow mark and all. Finally, with a documentary voice, you can have a 5 minutes short videos. Also, this also I suggest you to have a short, training short video presentation along with your creative skills and voice and all that. Number 2 is voice gym arambikkalam. Voice for views. Voice in views, you have to have voice gym also. Jagdish is having very good voice. So many people, she is having very glittering voice. So many voices you have to tune. That's what voice gym, and also short videos. Short videos and voice gym. For that we can have a one-day workshop. Depending upon your fund and all that, I'll ask person to come and take this advertisement, graphic, gaming and all. So these are up and coming media industries where you can have lot of opportunities now. Show the process it's used. Complicated process simplified through animation videos. Animation is to show the comprehensibility, whereas video is used to show the understanding sensation. For example, drip irrigation is skill, understand drip irrigation process, hydroscale, water use efficiency, comprehensibility. The little difficulty can be shown in the animated videos for simple understanding. Consistent work is important because you have to be very consistent. Keep on 4 or 5 times you have to do the exercise. Think of that. I'm completing because you are little tense now. Think of topic transition, very important. Transition must be going very gradually, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, not more than 6 slides. Then proper heading must be given for each of the slides and all the objectives, status quo, statistics, and the innovation component, scope, utility, and conclusion. Like it, you have to give a proper topic. Words in all capitals. Capital use panna, but capitals will be also very nice. It depends upon you. Font size not be normally we use below 24. 24 is I use 24. 24 use panna. 28 letter actually. 24 is very convenient for you. Even the last pages can also have this all. Use contrasting background. This I tried my own now. Light ink blue along with yellow. It's in the combination because it's creative and creative person. Color combination also gives suggestions from the normally dark black color to white yellow will be very nice. That was earlier, now it's order of the day. Now it is also upcoming. It depends upon individual interest. You show to your friends to have a concurrence. Next one. Tips: overuse of special effects is avoided. No special effects in scientific presentation. Other part of the content people will divert and all. Good quality image is very much important. Any photographs, you will have a JPEG format and you have to use it. MPEG for videos. Simple. List a number of slides. You have to list everything 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So audience will not be curious. You will be boring. They'll have a lot of things. They'll be also ready to wind up. Next one. Don't apologize. Sorry, I made my time. No, I will not apologize. That's what. Until now, I haven't apologized because I have a confidence. I prepare and come. Apologetically, that will create low confidence in me. If you believe something will be very hard to read or understand, don't use it because sometimes you have to cleverly use not to use. Cleverly use, not to use. When you're final touch, you I take it such of the thing which I may not be knowing. Non-linear யோசிச்சேன். Non-linear, you know the non-linear way of presentation is also very much important. Next one, deadly sins and all. Flipping reduces, far wherever slides move, but it's not good. Flipping reduces credibility. So slide நிறுத்தி let the mass push. அதுக்கு minimum வச்சுக்கணும். நிறைய slides கூட questions கேட்டே இருப்பாங்க audience. For any presentation telling, one slide per minute is thumb rule. One slide only per minute and all that. Learn to navigate your presentation in non-linear fashion. Non-linear fashion in what is it? நிறைய ups and downs இருக்கும். மாத்தி டக்குனு இதை போடணும், டக்குனு அதை போட முடியும். ஸ்டம்பிளிங் பிளாக் மாதிரி அவங்கள திங்க் பண்ண விடக்கூடாது. ஓ இதா அப்படின்னு கியூரியாசிட்டி கிரியேட்டட். திடீர்னு இங்கே போகணும், அங்கே போகணும், ரீகால் பண்ணணும், ப்ரீவியஸ் ஸ்லைட்ஸ் போகணும், நெக்ஸ்ட் ஸ்லைட்ஸ். யூ ஹேவ் அ லாட் ஆஃப் fumbling for the slides and all that. Then only people will be interested. தூங்க மாட்டாங்க. They will not sleep. So non-linear fashion the best way to introduce. Ultimately you make the slides திடீர்னு ஒரு வீடியோ, suddenly ஒரு animation video, suddenly ஒரு photograph, then you have a statistics, glaring statistics, and emotional talk, talking the appalling figure and all that. So this is how you have to use the practice to move forward and backward. அதுதான் important. நிறைய presentation, even in my counterparts when I was director, நிறைய பேர் என்ன தெரியாம present பண்ணாங்க. Very sorry to say this. Students கொடுத்தாலும் நானே பண்ணாலும் நான் படிச்சு பார்த்துட்டு ஒரு ஸ்லைட்ஸ் ஃபுல்லாக you have to encompass the details of slides. So practice, make forward and backward. I should know how many slides there are. டக்குன்னு the students will asking அதை போடுங்க சார், திருப்பி இப்படி போடுங்கிறப்போ preparation is the main thing. It's an aid, that's all. Don't depend on slides alone, it's an aid. Then audience often has to be a previous screen again. Make sure the slides readable. I think it's readable. Very much like last benches also. Text and graphic image should be large enough. That's what I put a large images. Next one. Transparent, not to show animation and all that. Practice someone who has never seen your presentation. Practice makes who has not seen your presentation. Ask them to be honest feedback. Colors nalla irukka, content nalla irukka, effect nalla irukka, graphic images. Don't read from your slides at all. Content of your slides must be for the audience, not for you. Content avanga paakkanum, na vandu paakka koodadu. For which I need preparation. Just like the showcase, to make the people read and think and think. Thought process for the audience is very important. That's what slides should not be read by the presenter. Normally, no, அப்படியே வாசிக்கலாம் இன்னுமே. But thank God, the extempore makes us makes me happy because the workshop is really useful because all are done extempore work and all that. Next one. Thank you. This is about the slide preparation on that. More than that, you have a layout design and all, you can make it out. Other than this, my own ideas, you can also incorporate something to make a slide, but only 5 sentences, 2 words alone. Thank you.
You have 10 minutes break now after silent questions.